It is on. Oh, there we go. Sweet. How is everybody this morning? Tired? Why are we tired? Are we looking forward to Christmas break? Awesome. Hey, this morning we're starting a new series titled The Best Christmas Ever. And the name of my lesson this morning is Emmanuel, God with us. And look, it's Christmas around here, right? Look at all the trees, this beautifully crafted fireplace. Who did that? And all these Christmas presents and these lights. And what's going on? What is that? What is that? Is that the Grinch? Who let the Grinch in here? What are you doing? What are you doing? What? Oh my goodness! What? Somebody stop this guy!
I hope you have a horrible Christmas morning and a terrible night.
Oh no! And he's dragging Sean Chandler out. Say goodbye to Sean Chandler. That's the last time. That might be the last time you see Sean Chandler. Was that the Grinch? I'm gonna be honest with you. That looked like the Temu Grinch. That looked like the Temu Grinch, right? Like that Grinch does not live on a mountain. That Grinch lives in the swamp. And he doesn't have a dog named Max. He probably has a donkey named Max. What in the world just happened? You know what? We should have known better though, right? Like anytime a full-blown movie villain gets a meal partnership with McDonald's, like something sketchy's bound to happen, right? And here I am. I bought the Grinch meal this week, thinking we're all cool. I'm supporting him. And then he comes in here like a chaotic toddler and just destroys all of our presents. Look at this. This was probably yours. And now it's trash. What in the world? You know what? McDonald's can keep their meal. I don't need it. And honestly, we should have known from his name, right? Like, the Grinch. What kind of name is the Grinch? That's weird. You hear that name and you instantly think, yeah, that dude's going to ruin Christmas. It's the kind of name, when you name somebody that, if you have a name that sounds like it is a side effect from a medicine commercial, yeah, don't let them in the same room with all of your presents. That's the warning sign here, right? Don't do that. Such a weird name, the Grinch. Who came up with the Grinch? Why is he named the Grinch? It's super weird. But names kind of have a way of telling us things, right? Even before we meet somebody, it has a way of setting our expectation for who that person is. And luckily that kind of feeds into exactly what I'm going to talk about this morning. The name Emmanuel, its meaning, and how that should shape how we approach this Christmas season. Have you all ever wondered what your name means? Have you ever been told what your name means? Or have you ever Googled your name? You know what your name means? Some names have a more broad cultural or religious meaning. Maybe your name means mighty warrior, or maybe it means lover of tacos. Anybody's name means that? But sometimes a name just has a meaning that's only meaningful to the people that give that person that name. Take my youngest son, for example. His name is Collier Riggs. His last name is Pollock, obviously, but Collier is his first name. Riggs is his middle name. I have a photo of him. That's him right there. Tana actually came up with his first name long before we had Collier. In fact, long before we were even married. The story is, in high school, I was dating Tana at the time, and I worked for a farmer in western Kansas, and he would occasionally have me drive to this other small town in Kansas to pick up some tractor parts. And It's about an hour there, an hour back. And so anytime I would do that, I would ask Tan, I'd say, hey, come with me. You know, we can go on the ride. We can enjoy each other. We can just hang out. And so she'd do that. And we'd drive to this other small town, and it was called Collier, Kansas, spelled Collyer. We'd drive there, pick up the parts, come back, and we just made memories. We're hanging out, driving in the car, having fun. And so that's, at some point in time, she's like, you know what, that would make a good name. So she kind of put that in her head. And then when we had our fourth child, she changed the spelling a little bit. Spelling is now Colleyer. But because of those memories and the time we had and just the meaning of that name, she thought, it's going to make a great name for somebody. So we named Collier that name, and I think it fits him perfectly. His middle name is similar. You see, Collier is the only one of us who is born in Texas. He's the only one that can claim to be a true Texan in our family. Everyone else is born either in Kansas or somewhere else. And so we needed to give him a middle name that like epitomized Texas. Like something that was like cool and strong and, just felt Texan. And so what better way to do that than to give him a name that came from in my opinion, one of the best shows ever made, filmed in Texas, about Texas football, Friday Night Lights. Anybody seen it? Yeah? In fact, Tana and I loved that show long before we moved to Texas. We would every single week. That was back when you'd only get one episode a week, so you had to kind of wait for the lead up every single week to go watch that show. And we would patiently wait. Wednesday nights it would come on. We would watch the show and then talk about that throughout the rest of the week, kind of awaiting what's going to happen in the next episode. And within that show, there's nobody more Texan than the fullback on that team, Tim Riggins. He's kind of a tough-nosed guy. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's a nice guy. He ultimately, at the end of the show, sort of sacrifices himself for the betterment of some family members of his and kind of shapes his path throughout at the end of that show. But it's because of those memories we had watching that show and the name that we decided we're gonna name him that. So Riggins was shortened to Riggs, and the legend of Collier Riggs was born, and that's how we got his name. And just like the names that we chose for Collier has meaning and memories, and it's very personal to us, God chose a name for his son that is filled with purpose. Like, he didn't just choose a name at random. He chose one. When God sent Jesus into the world, he chose a name that would forever declare his intention, not to be distant, but to dwell among us. Like the angel told Joseph what this name would be in Matthew 1:23, when it says, "The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel," which means God with us. Like before the cross, before the miracles, before Jesus preached a single sermon, God's first Christmas gift to us was his presence, himself. He didn't send an angel or a postcard. No, he showed up himself. It's not just a name. Emmanuel isn't just a name. It's a promise. And speaking of Christmas gifts, fun fact, in case you were wondering, my name Matthew means gift of God. So technically that means I'm the most Christmassy person in the room, right? Is that how it works? But seriously, let's talk about gifts for a minute. Let's think back to last Christmas. How many of you can think of at least 3 or more gifts that you got, right off the top of your head, that you got last Christmas? What? Not many hands raised. How many can think of at least 3 gifts that you got last Christmas? It's probably hard to think of those, right? Like gifts, they fade, they break, they get forgotten, they get stuffed in a drawer somewhere, they get replaced, right? For me, the best Christmas ever isn't the one where I got the coolest toys. In fact, as a kid, I can't remember many toys that I got because that, to me, wasn't what Christmas was about. To me, it was when I was with my family, sharing in memories and just being together. To me, that's what makes the best Christmas ever. It's not about presents. Christmas isn't about presents. It's about presence. Does that make sense? Now, presents last, presents don't. I'm going to be using those 2 words a lot throughout this. So I wanted to kind of define it just so you know, because I'm using 2 different words that sound the same, but they don't mean the same. So let's look at the definition of those. Presents. First one, the state or fact of existing or occurring in a place or a thing. And then presents, a thing given to someone as a gift. So you can think of presents as a gift. Presents. being there, dwelling somewhere. So this morning, when I talk about the importance of presence, like how important presence is, I'm not talking about the gifts. I'm talking about the ENCE presence, okay? So I just wanted to kind of frame that, because again, when I say Christmas is about the presence, I'm not talking about gifts. I'm talking about the other presents, okay? So for the remaining time this morning, and I started pretty early, so we may end early, unless I can talk slow. I'll drag it out. We're going to unpack what that means. I'm going to give you 4 truths on why God is a with us God. And throughout, just as you've seen this morning, I'm going to be sprinkling in some references to a Christmas movie that I think all of you have seen. I'm not going to tell you the title, but I'll let you guess what it is. It involves a dog named Max, a mountain, and a guy with a slight attitude problem. Any guesses?
My life.
Your life? No, the Grinch? I did hear the Grinch. It is the Grinch. Arguably one of the best Christmas movies, right? So, from the very beginning, God's plan has been to be with his people. God has always been a with us God. I'll say that again. God has always been a with us God. In the stories like the Grinch, we have somebody who comes down and takes things from us, right? But God's the opposite. He didn't enter the world to remove things. He steps into the world to give us what we need the most, and something that we can't find on our own. He's not God from far away. He's not God watching from heaven. He's God with us. Like in Genesis, God forms Adam from the dirt. And in my mind, I get this visual of God kneeling down in the dirt, forming Adam with his hands, right? And then he breathes life into his nostrils. Like, that's close. That's personal. He walks with Adam and Eve in the garden. When Moses was scared to face Pharaoh, God said in Exodus 3:12, I will be with you. When Joshua was terrified to lead his people, in Joshua 1:9 it says, be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And David wrote, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And then through Isaiah, God said, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. In Isaiah 43:2. Like from the garden to the manger, God's goal has always been the same, to be with his people. And when Jesus was born, it wasn't a new plan. It wasn't God's new plan to have Jesus come, right? Like all the way back in Genesis 3, when sin first entered the world, God promised he would bring a Savior that would crush the enemy. And then hundreds of years later, the prophet Isaiah said, the virgin will conceive and give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. That's Isaiah 7:14. And then it happened in John 1:14. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. Like, think about that. The God who created the universe put on skin and moved into our neighborhood. And notice how he chose to arrive. He didn't come as royalty. Like, he didn't come with 18 million followers as some influencer with brand partnerships and a private jet. No, he came as a baby, right? Wrapped in rags. He wasn't surrounded by security guards. He wasn't surrounded by paparazzi, but by farm animals and shepherds. Why did he do that? Well, he wasn't coming to impress us. He was coming to be with us. Jesus is God's ultimate presence. Jesus is God's ultimate presence. Jesus didn't just bring a message, he was the message. He didn't just speak for God, he is God. And he didn't just come to point the way of life, he is the way, walking right beside us. He came to live what we live, to laugh, to cry, to experience pain, and what it's like to be human. And that's how we know that he gets us. In Hebrews 4:15 it says, for we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin. So what does that mean? Well, the third truth is that Jesus understands what it's like to be you. Jesus understands what it's like to be you. He knows what it's like to be human. He knows fear. Remember in the Garden of Gethsemane when he's like, Father, if there's any other way, Like, he knows what's coming up, and he's afraid for it. He knows pain when he was beaten and nailed to a cross. He knows anger when the people were using the temple to take advantage of others. Like, he had anger there, enough to where he spent time fashioning a whip to then come back to the temple and knock over tables and destroy what they were doing there. And he knows joy when he celebrated with his disciples and his friends. Like, that's what makes, to me, the show The Chosen so great, is like you get to see that human side of Jesus in that way. Like, in the show, he had a sense of humor. I imagine he had a sense of humor in real life. He had all of these emotions that we all experience today at that point. So when you pray, you're not talking to a God who's like, I don't know, figure it out. I've never been there. No, you're talking to someone who says, hey, I've been there before, and I'm with you now through whatever. Like, that's how we know he gets us. He's not just because he is God, but because God became one of us. Now, back to the cinematic masterpiece that is The Grinch. Everyone knows the story, right? Raise your hand if you've never seen The Grinch. Okay, good. A few. That's fine. That's fine. Watch it. It's a good one. It really is an iconic Christmas movie, whether it's the original cartoon, whether it's the Jim Carrey version or the new animated version. I don't know which one you like better. The Jim Carrey version. Do we like the Jim Carrey version the best? It's a pretty good one. But you all know the story, right? The Grinch hates Christmas. He hates everything about it. He hates the noise, the trees, the presents, the lights, the food, everything about it. So what does he do? What does he decide he's going to do? He's going to steal Christmas. Right? So he sneaks down into Whoville, and he takes all the presents, he takes all the Christmas trees, all of the lights, the food, every single thing that reminds the Whos of Christmas, thinking that if he can do that, he's going to stop Christmas from coming. That's his plan. He's going to stop Christmas from coming. So he steals everything. Right? One of the scenes is like he takes a crumb of food and takes it as well. Nothing's left. But then on Christmas morning, he's up on the mountain and he hears something, right? Like, there's no tree, there's no trees, there's no presents, there's no roast beast, there's nothing. And yet, what does he hear? The Whos are singing. They've gathered and they're all singing. Why are they doing that? Well, at that moment, the Grinch comes to a realization. And I have a video clip that I'll show you here in a second of that realization. So now let's go.
It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought. Doesn't come from us all. Maybe Christmas, perhaps. Means a little bit more.
He said maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And the Grinch was right, more right than he probably even realized at that moment, because Christmas never depended on the presents. It depended on who was present. Like, Christmas doesn't come from Amazon, Target, or the mall, right? It comes from a Savior, Jesus, Emmanuel. The meaning of Christmas is not what we give, but it's who God gave, right? John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son." Christmas is built on Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us. The presents are great, the lights are fun, the decorations are beautiful, but the reason that we celebrate, the reason we sing, the reason that we have hope is that Jesus came near. Like I said at the beginning, the real meaning of Christmas is presence, not presents. The Grinch thought that Christmas was all about that stuff, about all those presents, the decorations, the noise, and when all of that was gone, he'd found something that he never had before, right? the presence of people. He experienced love and connection and what it meant to belong. And his heart grew 3 sizes that day, right? Because he realized something that we all need to remember. The power of Christmas isn't found in what we unwrap, but it's found in who came near. And Jesus ends the book of Matthew the same way that he enters it, with presents, right? In Matthew 28:20, after his resurrection, he says, "And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." Emmanuel wasn't meant to be a seasonal title. Like, it's not meant just for Christmas, right? It's God's permanent promise. Even when you don't feel him, he's there. When nothing's going according to plan, he's there. When your heart feels 2 sizes too small, he's there. And just like the Who's down in Whoville, we can still celebrate, because when the gifts and the plans and everything just falls apart, the presence of God will still remain. So I'm a little early, but I've got a little bit of a closing, and I wanted to read something with you. I had read this a couple of weeks ago by a pastor who posts things on Instagram. His name is Ian Simpkins. I've read a few things before from him, but I thought this was fitting to read to you, to kind of remind us that, again, God knows what it's like to be us. Like, he's experienced all of these things that help us understand that he knows what we're going through, and that his promise is that he's going to be with us throughout everything. So I'll read that right here, and I think we've got some slides that show it as well. But the one who created the human eye as a newborn struggled to focus his own. The one who spoke oceans into existence went thirsty and asked for a drink. The one who caused the seed to sprout went hungry and needed food. The one who caused the rocks to form likely scraped his knee on a few. He knows what it's like to be heartbroken. He knows what it's like to feel alone. He knows what it's like to feel abandoned. He knows difficulty, obscurity, and pain. He knows abuse, rejection, and oppression. He grew, matured, learned to walk and talk. He got tired, felt frustrated. He had friends, got his feelings hurt. He felt the joy of acceptance and the sting of rejection. He was moved by a sunset, had a favorite food. He had to deal with difficult things, grieved loss. He had good days and bad days, highs and lows, joys and challenges. Jesus understands what it is to love and be loved, be mistreated, to have to work hard, to suffer, to be alone and abandoned by all of those close to him. He understands the pain of losing a loved one, what it's like to cry, what it's like to be in such anguish that he sweats drops of blood. Christmas isn't just a story of God being with us a long time ago or being with him in a long time in the future. It's a story of God with us now, in our joy and grief, successes and failures, celebrations and tears, from a throne of endless glory to a cradle in the dirt. What if God isn't absent in our struggles, but profoundly present in them? What if, because of Jesus, God knows exactly how to meet us in our ordinary, messy, complicated human life? Like, from the garden to Bethlehem, to the cross, to your life, right now, God's plan has always been the same: to be with you. He's still present. He's still personal. He's still here, right? So this Christmas, as we continue through this Christmas season, let's not get distracted by the presents, not by the gifts, that we completely miss the presence of God. Like, let's not be like the Grinch and wait till Christmas morning to realize what truly matters, right? Because the best Christmas ever is not going to be found under a tree, but in a relationship with the one who came to be with us, Emmanuel, God with us. So let's pray.